sixes to the fields. One voice cuts through, giving you the real. He wrote the stories, he started the fire, launched the whole game back in '86, never retired. Heroes crown him, yeah, they call him the king. Fur coat flashing, bling bling in every ring. He's the hardest working, great talking dog. Call in with your tape, but don't get it wrong. He'll call you a nitwit if you're acting a fool, but deep down you love it. That's the Eskin rule. Riding with the king, yeah, we're riding with the king. Howard Eskin show, let the truth ring. Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, he knows the deal. Philly sports royalty, bow down and kneel. Riding with the king, put your hands in the air. From South Philly streets to the Delaware. No filter, no fear, just the facts on the mic. It's the Howard Eskin show. Let's go get sight. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I see there's already people that have joined the show that have on the message board, on the chat board, have already said good morning. Good morning to you. There is a lot to talk about, obviously, and that the a lot being the Eagles. And there are some things now. Maybe the Philadelphia media is starting to wake up in some of the issues that they didn't really want to deal with. I don't know why they didn't want to deal with, because it was the quarterback. Maybe they're afraid that they'll offend the quarterback, but whatever the case. Good morning, and thanks for riding with the king and joining the Howard Eskin show this morning. Like I said, there are a lot of things to talk about, and there were some comments made by Chris Sims about Jalen Hurts, and people killed him a few years ago, I guess shortly after Jalen Hurts came in the league. He did not think he was that good a quarterback, but whatever. And people killed him for that. People always overreact. Fans in Philadelphia, I think, not always, but 90% of the time, you overreact. There's also a comment here. Do you think Slay will find his way back to Philadelphia? I'll tell you this, I hope not. And I'll just leave it. I'll leave it at that for the time being, but I'll address that. All right. I want to thank our presenting sponsor, Jeff Stillwell, always being supportive and a part of this program, Stillwell Financial Advisors. When you need help in the changing world of economics in this country, it's just in the changing world, Jeff Stillwell absolutely positively can help you with his knowledge of finances. Good guy. Fun guy to talk to as well. You can give him a call at 732-343-0813. That's 732-343-0813. All right, I see some comments here. I see Tom, the king is the real deal. Yeah, God bless and enjoy the holidays. You as well. Gracious morning from Larry. And then Buffalo just became unlikable. You shouldn't want to keep a guy that doesn't want to play there. Just move on. Why do people want Darius Slay? But that's not my main focus this morning. I'm not going to get carried away with Darius Slay. Mark Lawrence will also join us to take a look at college football, I guess, conference championships. There's more of those today. And then Sunday night, they'll have the 12. Eventually, there'll be more than 12 teams to get in the playoffs, whatever the case. I see Lee Goldstein said, great hoodie. You know what? I'm supporting and memorializing my doggies, as you see right there. May they rest in peace and all having fun together. We'll never forget them. So that's what my hoodie is. That's what my hoodie is today. But there's a lot of things to talk about with the Eagles. Are they a Super Bowl team? Maybe you have to face reality. I'm tired of people always blaming the coaches. And I think Chris Sims, and I'm going to play something that he said, he dealt with that too. Fans are really getting too crazy, and I'm gonna deal with some of the things. Actually, I'm going to play one of the things, and I'm going to post them over the next few days to revisit some of the things that Kurt Warner said on the last show. Very, very astute. And Dick Vermeil, I talked to him the day either. He said it's the best discussion he's ever heard about quarterbacks. Pretty high praise from a guy that spent a lot of years in football. How many more wins are left for the Eagles? And Jalen Carter, I think his agent told him, hey, let's just get a procedure, whatever the hell he got. I don't know that he'll play the rest of the season. Uh, it's just I don't know that he'll play the rest of the season. I don't know that he wants to play the rest of the season. That's the other thing. All these guys are worried about their next contract. I see a comment. How about the Sixers game the other night against Golden State? Yeah, they got outscored by Golden State was without Steph Curry, without Jimmy Butler. Draymond Green played 9 minutes, and they got outscored in the second half by 21 points, and they were lucky to win the game. Give me a break. Golden State wasn't Golden State. None of these teams. The NBA sucks, but I don't want to get into that now. But I do want to tell you about the other fine people and fine partners that support this show. And one of those would be Audi of Westchester. Stopped by yesterday, said hello to everybody. The inventory is tremendous. If you want a vehicle, you can get a vehicle. But if you want the all new remodeled A5, now, when's the last time, or when have you ever seen 1.99% financing for up to 72 months? When have you ever seen that? That's on the all new 2025 remodeled Audi A5. And the most popular vehicle for Audi, the Q5 SUV, also 1.99% financing. Audi of Westchester, located at 1421 Wilmington Pike. By the way, they led the region in sales. I found out yesterday, I was told, led the region in sales. So they must be doing something right. 1421 Wilmington Pike. I don't know that you're going to see these finance rates again, but enjoy it for December. And I'm telling you, you ought to check it out. Go out, have a cup of coffee, have some fun with the folks that are there, get some snacks. AudiWestchester.com. Also, I know it's the winter, and I know it's been cold. I know it's been cold, but you can remodel your front part of your house and the back part of your house with Piazza Property Pros. It's not just the back. It's not just the landscaping in the back. It's not just the pool maintenance. It's not just building a pool. If you want to build a pool, you're right there with Piazza Property Pros. 25 years, 25 years of experience, 25 years of really good work for people. They don't subcontract. They know what they're doing, landscaping, fencing, whatever it is you want to do to your house, front or back. Piazza Property Pros. And here's the number 610 566 2608, 610 566 2608, or check them out on their website, piazzaoutdoor.com. All right. I want to deal with the Eagles' issues, or it could be issue. Issue. Chris Sims has never been, it's not, I don't want to say he's never been a fan, but he's never really thought Jalen Hurts was that guy. And Kurt Warner said that the other night when we had him on. He's not among the elite. He's somewhere in the middle of the pack. And that's what he is. He's got to learn to process better when you listen to Kurt Warner. But Chris Sims went a little further on a podcast that I just want to make sure I get the guy's name right on the podcast. Kevin Clark. He did a podcast with Kevin Clark, and here is just part of what Chris Sims said.
everybody's blaming the coaches, and the blame deserves to be on the quarterback, and that's it. This is why you heard last week and the week before from Philadelphia beat writers that have been there forever, Seth Joyner, all these people that, there's a lot of unhappiness in the organization about the quarterback. The quarterback won't play the game in the pocket. The quarterback has hijacked the offense and won't let them run certain plays. I've been saying this for 2 years. Right now, people are starting to realize, and I'm not just saying it, I know it. I've been told by people that are there now, people that were there and left. Nick Sirianni didn't get this job because they went, man, you only have 5 plays in your offense. We want you. We want you. They run a limited offense because of the quarterback. The run game's never been creative. Right? It's never. Last year, it wasn't overly creative. It was a lot of the same runs you're seeing right now, right? But at the same time, as you know, in the NFL, teams figure out how to defend certain things, right? And then here with this, teams have found the formula to go, wait, we cannot be steamrolled by the biggest, most powerful offensive line in football. We can figure out ways to stop the run because the pass game is so simple and there's certain plays and throws that the quarterback just won't throw. So that's what it looks like. I broke it down on my podcast last week. I mean, if you look at plays from the Cowboy game, there's people open everywhere when they can't score, in the second, third, and fourth quarter. But there's a quarterback that doesn't really go through the reads. He watches the rush. He doesn't throw the ball on rhythm, right? And I know he's told them that he doesn't want the offense to be crazy, right? So he doesn't. He's been very firm about it. I want the same way the offense was when we went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Chiefs the first time. So he's not going to allow them to reinvent the wheel and do different things there. So that's where everybody's got to get off the coaches. This is where the organization's going crazy because the public is pointing the finger at everybody except the guy that deserves the blame. And all the players and coaches know it's the quarterback.
I think Chris Sims is correct in everything he said. And he said a lot more, but that was the meat of it that he went off. It just, and I see these comments from people here. It's ridiculous. Sims, one comment is right. He's always had this opinion and he's been right. And then another guy, Greg, Sims stunk. It's not about how good Chris Sims was. That's not the case, but he spoke the truth. And I think people really have to understand, Chris Sims said something. It's the quarterback doesn't want more plays. And I have a reason that I don't think I can share because I was told off the record why there are not more plays and why the quarterback doesn't want more plays. And they bow down to what the quarterback wants. That's why it's not the offensive coordinator. You people that blame Kevin Batula are clueless. And then you want to fire Nick Sirianni. You want to fire Kevin Batula. People throw eggs at Kevin Batula's house. That's disgusting. And those people, they should be locked up for life for being stupid. Because stupid people, you can't help stupid, can't teach stupid because they're just plain stupid. So those people that did that, and you can't, unfortunately, the law doesn't allow you to do that. But fans have to stop not overreacting. I see, I'm no fan of Chris Sims, but I have to say he's correct, and that's George. And I know George will join the show shortly. I don't know, is George there? Let's hear from George if George is there. All right, George. You still on vacation?
Yeah,
still on vacation?
We fly back this afternoon. I see the cold weather in Philly. I'm not too happy.
Well, I got a little warmer today. It's going to be 42.
Thanks, Howard. I appreciate that. Right. I'm no fan of Chris Sims. I have never been, but I have to be real with myself and put my dislike for whatever reason aside. He's right. He's correct. Jalen does have receivers open. I could put aside the offensive line a little bit here. They're not playing well in injuries, but he's not. Jalen needs to read his reads better, and I'm a fan of Jalen too.
Well, you heard Kurt Warner the other night, I imagine, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Kurt Warner, he didn't come out and say it, but when quarterbacks come out of college, the quarterbacks today, they're really more athletic, less with processing, less with playing in the pocket. And some quarterbacks learn to be better at playing in the pocket. Apparently, and I'll say apparently, but we've seen it, Jalen Hurts hasn't gotten to that level. And Kurt Warner pointed that out. He's not good. I asked him how you learn to process. It takes you can't do it during the season. And sometimes it's instincts and it's within the person or the player. And I don't know at this point, and that was the scouting report for Jalen Hurts coming out of college. Doesn't process very well. Well, why is that still the case? That's the other thing that I don't understand. Why is that still the case?
Howard, am I going to be a nut here? And I know it's easy to look at backup quarterbacks, and I know camp and preseason games don't mean anything, and I watched them a little bit last year. Am I being a little crazy, or maybe Tanner McGee could run the offense?
Well, I got crushed because I said he was better fundamentally. He was the best quarterback on the team fundamentally. Now, I didn't think he was going to start. They're not going to change. They are not going to change.
Do you draft another quarterback in the next?
I think they'll look, whether it's in the draft, for another quarterback.
I sound crazy here. The guy is taking us to 2 Super Bowls. I just see guys, and they're struggling, and you see tape that there's receivers up. Maybe AJ Brown, all his tweeting aside, maybe that's the frustration with AJ Brown too. I'm sure some of the players will probably feel.
Oh, wait a minute, wait. When AJ Brown, after the last game, he's not going to go off the way he has been. Somebody asked AJ Brown, he talked about the fact that they didn't play well, but were receivers open? This was his response. Yes. He didn't say anything else. But when you say, he answered the question
right
without going deep into the answer of that.
But he answered it. But there were receivers open, and that's obvious.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. George, the Eagles a Super Bowl team this year?
Oh my God, I'm praying for it, but you know what? They just everything seems to be going wrong. It's tough to repeat.
George, just face reality. No. Okay. No. All right. No. I asked for a yes or no answer.
You asked for a yes or no. There's your answer.
Yeah, right. They're not a Super Bowl team, and that's okay because it's so hard to get back. Kurt Warner talked about that the other night. A lot of the reasons that it's tough to go back. It's really difficult.
I have to tell you, Howard, I'm liking the Flyers.
I told you the Flyers. I excluded. I excluded the Eagles, but I think the Flyers are the next team to win a championship in Philadelphia. It's certainly not going to be the Sixers.
Taka gets it, man. I just hope, and I hope he doesn't do what Mike Keenan did if he's burning these young guys out there. I don't want.
You know what? That's a good threesome between he, Danny Briere, and Keith Jones. They're all on the same page, and they can work together without any resistance, and they can listen to each other. And I think that's important. They're the next team, excluding the Eagles, between the Phillies and the Sixers to win a championship. No, it's not anytime soon, but they're the next team.
So I should mention the Sixers then here, right?
No, it's just they won 3 in a row against Golden State without half their team, and they got outscored by 21 in the second half. We're lucky to win the game because if Draymond Green was in the game, Edgecombe would have been blocked out, and he wouldn't have got the missed shot by Maxey to score the winning basket. I mean, it just, please, the Sixers, don't get carried away with the Sixers. They suck. All right. All right. Have a nice trip back, George.
Thanks, Howard. Have a great day.
All right, you too. There's a comment here before I get to Mark Lawrence. Howard, I've been listening to you since it was supposed to be IP, but WIP. I don't catch all your shares because I just found this, but you always have a sidetrack, even if you don't agree with what you're saying. Obviously, he wrote this quickly. You do know what you're talking about. That's why I enjoy this. Thank you for all the Eagles information. I try to help. People don't want to believe it. People get mad at me. And I know I've said before, people always love the backup quarterback because until he's the starter. But the reality is, sometimes the starter, the reason they love the backup because he's the only other person there. Maybe the starter's just not good enough. All right, let's take and we'll get back to this conversation. And I got something that I want to play from Kurt Warner, where he broke down from the last show, where he broke down the Eagles, and a comment from Nick Sirianni's press conference the other day, where it just shows these press conferences are a total 100% wasted time. The questions from the writers, and by the way, Chris Sims said something about, the writers have known it. The writers haven't known it. They just until recently, in the last few weeks, have criticized him. Seth Joyner criticized me for the comment I made about Tanner McKee, and he had all these glowing things to say about Jalen Hurts until I don't care whether Seth Joyner played football or not. Sometimes you're just wrong. And Seth Joyner was wrong, but now he's realized. So it's not like he's recognized this throughout. Believe me, it's not like he's recognized this throughout. All right, let's take a look at the weekend football and bring in Mark Lawrence to do that. Hey, Mark, how are you today?
I'm just terrific, Howard. How are you doing?
Oh, just great. Chris Simpson, I think you didn't hear it because you clicked in late. He just buried Jalen Hurts, buried him. Chris Sims is not a fan, and just because you weren't a good quarterback in the NFL doesn't mean you can't see and don't understand the position. I mean, his father was a quarterback. He was a quarterback. He knows the position, and he was critical. He was on another podcast. It was unbelievable, but he's kind of figured this out. You just look at certain things and he's just, hey, they're going to win some games because they have some good players around them. And they had more last year than they have this year, but whatever. So we'll get to the pros and we'll get to what you think of the Eagles game. They should beat the Chargers. The quarterback's got a broken bone in his left hand, but will play. They should beat the Chargers, but these days you never know because the Eagles just don't score a lot of points. It's crazy. And I'm sure the totals on their games have been adjusted over the last few weeks because of the fact that they don't score a lot of points. But we'll get to that. Save it. I know you want to say something, and I'm going to ask you about that. But let's take a look. Now, college, there's not that many games today. There's playoff games or conference playoff games. Let's take a look at all of them and go down the list.
Sure.
All right, the first game, which is at noon, is Miami, Western Michigan, and where Western Michigan's a 1.5 favorite. What do you see with that game?
Well, you take a look at these two teams. First of all, there's revenge in this football game for Western Michigan. Not that it means anything in college football conference championships. The only teams that it means anything to are those that have exceptionally good defenses that can do something about it. I don't think Western Michigan can do anything about it. They've each played 5 common opponents. Western Michigan won straight up in all 5 of those football games. They have much the better stats than these two football teams do. But Miami's been here before and done that. This is the 3rd time in the last 5 years they've been in this conference championship game. I'm going to take a small lean, I mean real small, to Miami of Ohio. It's just, to me, this is football that's just one grade level above what would be FBS level here. They're between FCS and FBS, the MAC is, and I don't get too serious about the MAC conference.
All right, another noon game, Eastern time. And there's some people that don't listen to me on Eastern time, but Eastern time, BYU, Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship. Texas Tech's a 12.5 point favorite. BYU's played well, but that line kind of jumps out, and I almost think it's telling me something, even though I know you don't like to lay the 12.5.
I don't like to lay the 12.5, but because of who they are and their body of work, I won't take the 12.5 here either. I won't get sucked into that. This is a Texas Tech football team that I think personally, Howard, could well be playing for the national championship in the championship game at Texas Tech. They've really come on like any other team in college football this year. You've got your Indiana, you've got your Ohio State, and then right behind them is Texas Tech. With all this money that this oil baron laid into this program, and they brought all this talent in, they've really, really capitalized on it. And look at the 3 common opponents that these two teams have played. Texas Tech wins the yards in those games a net of 294 yards a game. BYU wins the stats 7 yards a game. This is, I think, a one-way street here for Texas Tech. You have to lay it or don't play it.
All right. And the next game would be at 4 o'clock Eastern time. Georgia is a small favorite at Alabama. Now, there's a lot of things that got to happen. If Alabama loses, there's probably a 50% chance they don't make the college playoffs. In college playoffs, to me, I look at maybe 4 teams that have a chance to win a national championship, and Alabama is not even close to one of them. So I don't really care whether they get into the playoffs. But Georgia, a small favorite against Alabama. Who do you like?
Well, there's a reason Georgia is a small favorite here because everybody in the world knows how good Alabama is as an underdog, especially in big football games. They're not much of an underdog, like 1.5 or 2, as you mentioned here. But you've got Georgia playing with triple revenge in this football game. Bama's taken them out 3 times in a row. Kirby Smart is the best in college football at extracting revenge, at least to the point spread. 5-0 against the spread. Alabama, the last 5 times that they've gone into triple revenge, they're 0-5 against the spread. Then look at the common denominator of the two of the opponents that they played here. Alabama is negative yardage in those games, and Georgia is plus 84 net yards a game. I think Georgia beats Alabama, and the controversy starts about Alabama being a 3-loss team and whether or not they should be in the college football
Well,
playoff.
if they surpass Notre Dame, I'm all for it because Notre Dame doesn't play a conference championship. It's unfair because now if Alabama didn't play a conference championship game, they'd be in the postseason playoff.
Yeah, they're being penalized for
Yeah,
doing it
right.
right.
And that's wrong. And Notre Dame will never have a conference championship because they will never join a conference. They'll play some of those teams because of the greed that exists in South Bend, because they get all the television money, all the bowl money, because they're not part of a conference, so they don't have to share it. So their greed is the reason they don't do it. And they think because they're Notre Dame and they play a high school schedule that they should, because they don't have to play in a conference. It's a joke.
Let me show you a little bit about you at the greed factor there. A good friend of mine lived in South Bend, and we used to go there for Thanksgivings and we had a great time. And I got to know the Notre Dame campus and layout and everything. So we're at the football game and you're walking around and there's no parking and you have to park on people's lawns, their front lawns. And I couldn't believe the fact that people who park on front lawns, Notre Dame got a cut of that money. People's parking on their own personal front lawn, and Notre Dame took a cut of the money that was paid to park on a person's
How?
front lawn. That's how greedy
Wait a
they
minute.
are.
How can they do that? It's not their
They
home.
do that, Howard. They do that. What they'll do is they'll send people in when the games are going on. They'll go to each home and they'll see, okay, there's 6 cars stacked in this lot. There's 5 cars in this lot, and they'll tell the people by a city ordinance, you owe us this amount of money for those for the
Oh my
income from the
God! Now
parking.
that's something I didn't know. It just makes
Yeah.
it more disgusting that
Yes.
what Notre Dame does and the greed that exists. I don't even know what the tuition is there, but if they're getting all that money, then the tuition should be cut down, whatever the tuition is at Notre Dame. But I, if Alabama lost 5 games, I'd put them in ahead of Notre Dame. Forget about 3. All right, the next game on the card, there's 2 games at 8 o'clock, and one of them really good game. Indiana, Ohio State. Indiana's really good. I know Indiana's really good. I think they might even have a chance to win this game. Your thoughts on the game?
Well, you know something, Howard, when the biggest detractor for Ohio State, yes, they're on a roll. They won the national championship last year, and they look like a pro football team against other college kids all season long. They dominate defensively. But so too does Alabama. Their strength is also on the
You
defensive
mean
side of the
Indiana? And
football.
talking about
Indiana,
yeah.
yes. I'm sorry, we talked Alabama. Indiana, their strength is on the defensive side of the football. You look at their points allowed in games. 10 of their 12 games, they've held opponents to season low points. 8 of their games, they've allowed opponents to season low yards, has Indiana. And they've got a quarterback here in Mendoza who I think is going to end up perhaps winning the Heisman Trophy. The winner of this game, the quarterback, will likely win the Heisman Trophy. But the biggest negative for Ohio State here is they're the defending national champion, and defending national champions really struggle in conference championship games the next year because they have that big target on their back. I think Ohio State succumbs to the pressure of this game, and I think Indiana pulls the
Wow.
upset.
Okay. So you like Indiana, obviously.
Yes, I
And
do.
then one team I know you don't like a little bit is is Duke. You are not a fan of Duke, and they're playing Virginia, and Virginia is a small favorite at 4.5.
Howard, how can a five-loss Duke football team be in a conference championship game while a 10-2 Miami of Florida is sitting on the sidelines watching? There's something terribly wrong with the tiebreaker situation in the ACC. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how they snuck in there to do just this. Manny Diaz is not a good head coach. He's a defensive coordinator at best. They've been out-yarded in more games than they've played this far this football season here. In Virginia, they're really closing like a freight train right now. The last four games, they've held opponents to season-low yards as Virginia here. I think it's a clear-cut favorite for Virginia in this football
All
game.
right. So, just to run them down, the sides you like: Miami, a little bit of Ohio, Texas A&M, a little bit if you had to take a side,
Texas Tech, right?
Texas Tech, Georgia, Indiana, and you like Virginia laying the points.
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. So, all right. So now that I, I guess how many games? I guess there'll be a bunch of games. If there's 12 teams, two of the teams don't play. So what are there going to be, like 5 games? 5 games next week?
Well, next week we're going to have the
Oh, our
Army
Navy game,
Navy,
and they don't, and nothing interferes with that, right?
right? And then, but after this weekend, we're going to end up having bowl pairings being put together, so we'll be able to start
Oh,
talking
okay.
bowls next week
Okay.
and the Army Navy
All right.
game
All right.
itself.
Cool. All right. Let's take a look at pro football. Who do you like in the pros?
Well, we've got two favorites out here this week. Again, I'm going to use my favorite pet phrase of leaking oil. They're not playing real good football; they're laying points. And they're also in these football games going into revenge, same season revenge. First play, we're going to play the Jets against Miami. Miami is just flat out not a good football team. They've won three in a row, but they haven't beat anybody. They're not impressive at all. And in fact, when they beat the Jets earlier this year, Howard, the Jets out-yarded Miami 104 yards in the football game. Jets much, much better, more so outplayed Miami in that contest here, and I think they'll do it here as well. You got the cold weather factor here as well. You got Miami. It's 82 degrees here today. It's going to be, 12 degrees up in New York? Frozen fish in New York don't do well. We'll play the Jets plus the
Okay.
points.
So you like the Jets. Who else do you
Yes.
like?
I think we're going to look at New Orleans against Tampa, and we keep beating this Tampa drum, but we have to as long as they keep laying points and they keep getting outgained in football games. It's 8 straight games in a row. Tampa Bay has not won the yardage, and they beat New Orleans earlier this year, and New Orleans out-yarded Tampa in that football game. The Saints are playing a little bit better than they have all season long, but they're playing their best football of the season all year long. I think the Saints could sneak up on Tampa Bay and possibly pull the rug out on them.
You know, what's his name? Jaden Daniels is back for Washington, and now Washington's a favorite. And Minnesota's playing awful football. Would you lay points with Washington? I think people are caught up on the fact that Jaden Daniels is back. Would you leave the game alone, or would you lay points with Washington?
Well, there's a theory in the game, and I was prepared to make a case for Washington as the underdog before Jaden was pronounced he's going to play, and they went favored. But teams that are mired in these long losing streaks, like Washington is, like Tennessee is, when they've lost 7 or more games in a row after the first month of the season, they're on the road. They're excellent point spread plays. And that's what Washington would be in this football game. Minnesota's got big, big problems here. They don't have a quarterback. J.J. McCarthy comes back, and he's just flat out no good. I think Washington with Daniels is the right side of this football game. It's kind of weird to say they're the road favorite, but they should be because Minnesota is really struggling. Yes, I like
All right,
Washington.
with what you just said, Tennessee seems that would be a side as an underdog. They're on a losing streak, correct?
Yes, big
Yeah,
time.
and I think
Yeah.
people have gotten a little too carried away with Shador Sanders. But uh, why is Cleveland laying 4 points to a high school team? Uh,
Well, because you answered your own question right there.
so, do you like a side in that game?
I do like the Tennessee side. If Tennessee's going to win another football game between now and the end of the season, it's going to come against the likes of the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, like you say, shouldn't be laying points to themselves, let alone anybody else. Shadur Sanders is nothing special. I mean, he's okay, but they're not going to win games because of him.
Mhm.
And I think this is Tennessee's best chance to win a football game here. Strange to say, Howard, but the Cleveland Browns could play down to the level of Tennessee this Sunday.
Well, they'd have to be below the equator to play to play down that far. A team that every week we say Kansas City's got to win, and then they don't win because I think what are they 6-6, either
Yes.
500 team. They have to win. There's no more chances if they don't win. But you're laying 3.5 points. Which Houston's a good defensive team. Would you lay the points in this game?
Well, here's the thing in the game. Kansas City, for as rough a season as they've had this year, and I attribute a lot of that to the Super Bowl loser atmosphere jinx that really jumps on football teams the next year. They're playing better statistically this year than they did last year when they made it to the Super Bowl. And in fact, they're one of only 5 teams in the league that ranks in the top 10 in offense and defense. Kansas City is. Uh, Now you've got Houston coming in here is playing their best football of the season. They've won 3 in a row. They're the number 1 ranked team in overall total team defense. I'd normally be on that like white on rice, but I don't want to step in front of Andy Reid in this situation, largely because Andy Reid, when his football teams are dead even 500 on the year, have been outstanding against the spread, 80 and 48 against the spread in that particular role. I'd lean Kansas City or not play the game.
Uh, uh, so you like Kansas City a little bit, a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
The Indianapolis Colts are favored on the road against Jacksonville. They've struggled a little bit lately, but this might be a game that they can kind of turn it around. You like a side there?
I like Indianapolis here. I don't like them as a team. I think they're a fraud, but they've lost 2 in a row outright and coming in there into the spread. Jacksonville's on this little bit of a mini run here. They've won 3 straight games. Number 1 team now in their division, and that's what I think gets the Colts' attention in this football game here. I think the Colts are at the right side of this football game. I don't like the fact that they've lost 9 straight games in a row in Jacksonville, but today, the circumstance being what it is, I think they're the better football team, and I think Jacksonville gets knocked down a peg in this game.
I know you don't like to lay 8.5, especially on the road. I just think the Rams was a wake up call for the Rams, and because of Stafford and because of their head coach, I just think they're going to come really ready to play. And I know Arizona, when they lose, don't lose by much.
No, they
Uh,
don't.
you probably don't like the game, but would you take the Rams as a side in this game, or just let it go?
I'm going to let the game go, largely out of respect to Arizona and how well they fared in close call games this year. They lead the league in most close call losses this season here. But the Rams are a really, really good football team who I think got caught napping last week. They got beat as a 10-point favorite, and they're going to come back right now here as what would be a cheaper favorite in that sense. The next week, a little bit less than they laid last week. I'm going to stay out of it. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Rams roll and cover in this game because I think Arizona at some point is going to end up tossing in the towel.
All right, the Eagles play on Monday night. I love the way they say, well, they got a mini, so they got an extra day. They got an extra day mini buy, mini buy. It's an extra day, and not that it makes any difference because most of the guys, there's always guys, not most of the guys. There's always guys that don't practice during the week to give them some rest. And the Eagles now, without Jalen Carter on the defensive line, but it's the offense that really has got to score some points. And let me see what the total is. Total in this game. How about this? The Eagles and the Chargers. The beginning of the season, would you think that the total on this game would have been 41.5 with those two
No,
teams? I mean,
no.
they have caught up to the fact that the Eagles don't score and the Chargers are scuffling a little bit.
Yep.
That total, it's almost like you got to take the under because they're forcing you to take the over. You have a thought on the total before we get to the game?
Well, I think the total is where it is because of obviously the condition of the 2 football teams. The Chargers with the questionable Herbert in his non-throwing hand, the Eagles scrapping right now, largely lacking on offense here. But I have to get back to what it is that I do, and there's leaking oil abounding with the Eagles here. They've lost the yards 3 straight games in a row, and that's what led to their demise. Howard, this team ranks number 24 in overall offense and 25 in defense. This team is not the Philadelphia Eagles that we saw last year. and they cannot keep getting pushed around on the football field and losing the yardage and expect to win football games. If they win this game and do it the right way by outgaining, outyarding, and doing it the old-fashioned way, I'll win their respect back. But until they do, they have to prove it to me. I cannot back Philadelphia laying points on the road against anybody right now, but especially a Chargers football team that's a pretty good
Okay,
team.
so you would not. It sounds like you wouldn't take the Chargers, but there's no way if you took a side in the game that you would take the Eagles. The Chargers would probably be the only way you could go. If
That
in
would be the
fact,
only side I could look
yeah,
at. Yes,
I just they really. There's been a lot of criticism. I don't know that it changes the way Jalen Hurts approaches a game. You are what you are sometimes, and we'll take a look at next week. But if they don't score more than 24 points next week against the Raiders, they ought to just close down the season and say, we'll see you next year. I mean, that's the team where they should ramp it up. And I'm getting ahead of myself, but somewhere along the way, this team has got to show somebody they can score some points, and they're not that team. You know, Mark, I don't know if you have it in front of you. When you say they've been out yarded the last 3 games,
3 games in a row.
okay,
Yes,
I think they've been out yarded 10 or their 12 games this year.
yes, they have
Yeah,
exactly, exactly.
it's unbelievable. They're not the same team. People have to understand that. Kurt Warner said that when I had him on the other night. They're just when you come back from a Super Bowl, you expect everything to be the same, and he says it's not the same. And the Eagles have to understand it. Now they're lucky they're in the division they're in, and they're lucky that Dallas didn't fix some of the things until probably midway through the season. But they're just, I don't know that they win even if they play the first game at home, which they will because they're going to be a division winner. I don't even know if they'll win that game. I don't know who they're going to play. So,
You know what they're doing, Howard? They're keeping the door open for that jinx that's happened in the NFC East, where there's been no repeat champion in 20 years. And for the Eagles to win this year would snap that jinx, but they're keeping it open for the Dallas Cowboys because of this treacherous play that they're doing this football season here. Dallas stunk the joint up, but now they're playing some pretty decent football. They've got to get their act together here if they want to keep that door closed on the Dallas Cowboys and win this division.
well, I think they win the next two. If they lose this game Monday, it would be insulting. But they'll beat the Raiders. And then the next week, they play at Washington, assuming Jaden Daniels stays healthy. That's going to be a really difficult game for them playing Washington the
Yeah,
following.
they have Washington 2 of the last 3 games to have to go up against them.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we'll see what happens. All right, if people have interest in your services, 800-321-7777 or on the internet, playbooksports.com. Mark, have a great week. And Sunday night, when Notre Dame makes the college playoffs, I turn off the TV and say, I am done with college football. I don't care what happens to Alabama.
Howard, every homeowner in South Bend is hoping the Irish make the playoffs because they want that parking lot
Oh
money.
yeah, they got to get that, and then they get extra money for making the bowl playoffs that they don't share with any conference teams. Disgraceful. South Bend, the haven of hypocrisy. All right, all right. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
You do the same, Howard. Be well. Take
See
care.
you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. That's what South Bend is, the haven of hypocrisy. I didn't realize they collect parking money from the cars that park on the other people's property. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? You're kidding me. The greed is just insulting's not a good enough word. Disgraceful's not a good enough word. Embarrassing's not a good enough word. Oh my God, please give me a break. All right. We will I got something that Kurt Warner said uh, the other night on the show. I'm going to play that for you so you kind of get a sense of the way he looks at this team in case you missed the show. If you missed the show, you should check it out. Dick Vermeil texted me right after, called me the next day, said it was the best discussion of quarterbacks he's ever heard. But I got a Sirianni comment from his last news conference. He's got one as we speak today on Saturday, and we'll deal with it. I'll just show you why these news conferences are a total waste of time. And it just, I still think he's a good coach, but the news conferences, because he's been muzzled, it's just a waste of time. And I might probably play Chris Sims again, just so you get a taste of what Chris Sims said. But let me also thank my presenting sponsor, Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff Stillwell is he's the guy when it comes to financial wealth and your wealth and putting your money in the right position. Jeff Stillwell, had lunch with him the other day, and he shared some things with me, and he learned, oh, really? Yes. Okay, good. But he can help you too. Jeff Stillwell, great guy and knows what he's doing. Sharp guy, 732-343-0813. All right. We had a winner from the last show, something that Kurt Warner said when he talked about, I asked him for the top 3 quarterbacks, and there was 3 guys that he put at number 3. So he gave me 5. So I asked people, the question was, and I'll have another question at the end of the show for a Chickies and Pete's gift certificate. But the question was, give me 4 of the top 5 quarterbacks that Kurt Warner thought were the top 5 in the NFL. No, Jalen Hurts was not one of them. William Lampman had one of the people that had the correct answer, chosen at random. Now, 4 of the 5, he had 4 of the 5. The 5 that he said were Mahomes and Burrow. He had Burrow second, Joe Burrow second. And then after that, to put number 3, put 3 guys at number 3, Stafford, Allen, and Jackson. And William had 4 of the 5. William, you win the Oakley sunglasses. Congratulations. And thanks for listening. All right. And we'll have a question at the end of this show for your Chickies and Pete's gift certificate, which you will submit your answer to howardeskin.com by midnight on Tuesday, December 9th. And we'll announce the winner when we're live next week. You can watch the shows anytime, live on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and always Twitter. You can follow me and then ask for the notifications. But YouTube, when you subscribe, which obviously doesn't cost anything, they notify you as soon as I come on live. So we'll have that. The other thing for people that want to check in, it's really kind of easy. And I don't know if everybody, here it is. When you click on the link, which is posted in the chat, a chat line, just hit allow. It allows the microphone and camera. Now, at that point, if you don't want to be on camera, at the bottom, there's a camera icon, and just click that off, and there's an arrow that goes through it. I need your audio. I don't need the camera. So hopefully that makes it easier for you. All right. We will get to some calls, but I want to talk about some other partners of this program. And one of those would be Audi Westchester. And they got, look at that finance rate. If you're looking, 1.99% on the new remodeled 2025 A5. 1.99. When are you ever going to get that anywhere? Financing up to 72 months on that financing deal. It is sensational. And you can be a part of it. Great inventory. I was stopped out there yesterday. Great people. Have a cup of coffee, have some snacks. Talked to a customer yesterday. We went over a lot of things, but you too can also get 1.99% financing on the 2025 Q5 SUV. That is the most popular vehicle that Audi has, and you can get 1.99% financing for up to 72 months. Audi Westchester, 1421 Wilmington Pike. Check it all out, and check out their website, Audi Westchester. Great people, AudiWestchester.com. And you want to do a little reconditioning, I'll call it reconditioning of your home, whether it's the front or the back. They can do the front part of your house, they can do the back part of your house, but they can do anything to make your ground look better. And if you want a pool, obviously they can do that too. That you want pool maintenance, they can do that. Piazza Property Pros can do that with 25 years of experience. Not, and I mention this quite often, but it's important to know that they don't subcontract, do a great job, whether it's excavation, hardscaping, fencing, landscaping, pool maintenance, building a pool, front yard, backyard, whatever it is. Give them a call. And, if nothing else, just check it out. 610-566-2608, 610-566-2608, or check them out on the internet, piazzaoutdoor.com. All right, before we get to the call, Kurt Warner from the last show, um, talked about, his overview of the Eagles, and he said a lot of things about the quarterback, and I'll post them on my social media sites in case you missed it. You should go back and listen to the show anyway. But here's what he said, taking a look at the Eagles this year, Kurt Warner.
And I think they came in and said, hey, we don't need to change anything. We just have to be, good at the things we did a year ago. And it started with obviously running the football, and Saquon Barkley. And that's how they built this thing. And the problem has been, yes, they've had a couple of injuries up front, but they're just not as good, or they're not playing as well up front as they did a year ago. And so there are a lot of struggles in the run game, and they're not getting any explosive big plays in the run game. And so I believe that they've lost their identity a little bit, because this is who we are. This is how we've had success. This is how we went to a couple Super Bowls, and it's not working. So now what do we do, and how do we adjust? And specifically, how do we adjust in the middle of the season? That's the one thing that, when you go through training camp and you do all of that, you practice the things that you think you're going to do during the season. You build your offense the way that you're going to play during the season. And so it's not as easy to go, okay, we've got, 5 days between this game and the next game. Let's revamp our offense and let's do something completely different. That just doesn't happen. We can make a little adjustment here and a little adjustment there, but I think the biggest thing is they really felt like they were built to play the same way they did a year ago, and it's not working. And with it not working, they're trying to figure out, okay, what can we adjust, or how do we, get better at the things that we should be better at? And to me, I just think the biggest thing is that their offensive line is just not dominating the way it has in the past.
And he obviously pointed up some other things, and I see a comment here from Sean Crowley. Kurt Warner's correct about Jalen Hurts as well. He goes on the first read, and then his vision and his pocket awareness in terms of not seeing people and taking unnecessary sacks is a problem. I asked him how you learn to process better over time, and he's not sure how you do it. It's practice, but there's probably some instincts. Kurt Warner was really good, and he explained a lot of things, but that's really, really interesting. I am going to, I'm going to play this, the comment from Nick Sirianni. This is why you don't need news conferences. The writers, there's nothing to ask. I guess it's not totally to blame with them. Each NFL team has to have 4 news conferences during the week, and they have it the day after most of the time, Wednesday and Friday, and after the game is another. Now it's backed up this week because of the Monday night game, and the one after the game is one of them. But the other one that they have, actually the fourth one, it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. After the Friday news conference, they have what's called an off-the-record news conference, where they make it real short, and then and he says nothing there too. But here, I'm going to play this comment. This is from the news conference the other day to show you that I think Nick Sirianni is a very good coach. However, these news conferences bore him. The questions bore him. Listen to this response to a question, and listen to the whole thing, and you'll see that he just doesn't want to be there. Listen to this.
your sole focus is always going to be like at the heart of it. You can change philosophies, you can change different things, you can change schemes, you can change processes, but you know, I don't. But yeah, they all go hand in hand. Okay, what I was getting at, sorry, I lost train of thought for a second, is you're always trying to do what's best for the football team.
He lost his train of thought because he doesn't want to be there, and he has to be. He's not going to say anything, and the questions are the same ones over and over and over, and it's just a lot of writers ask questions because they know it's posted on social media, and they want people to hear that they're there asking the question. I pointed out last week they didn't ask a question about the quarterback, his first one after the game. How could the day after? How can you not ask a question about the quarterback's issues and apparent problems with processing? All right, let's go to a caller, and I'll deal with this moron and this dope. And is Cowboy Jim there, Joe? What, you're walking, huh?
Yes. Well, my dog decided to do a 4 mile hike this morning, so I'm still walking with him. So,
Isn't that
yeah.
isn't that so nice? You'll be a little distracted. Hey, how did your
Hold on.
Cowboys do? How did your Cowboys do the other night?
That was
I
a
saw.
little. That was tough. That was tough.
They're
The
done. They're done
defense.
now with winning the. They're done with winning the division.
No, they're not done. They're not done. But I mean, turnovers were not.
You're breaking up there, big guy. See, that's what happens when you walk your dog. He wants you to shut up, and that's why when you're breaking up, your audio's
I'm not
breaking up. I
breaking up.
can't help you with
I'm
that.
not breaking up. Am I breaking up? Can you hear me?
Okay, now I can hear you, but you were breaking up. All
All
right.
right, I'll stay right here. I
What
won't move.
Okay. All right. So what's up in your feeble mind? Hey, see that? You broke.
Well, listen.
I can't hear you.
All right, I'll talk to you next week.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. That was the best. That was the best call ever from Cowboy Jim because we couldn't hear him. Isn't that great? I couldn't bust his balls about the Cowboys losing. They needed to win that game. Now, I know Detroit's a good team, and I know it was on the road, but it's just, oh, man, that was the best call from Cowboy Jim. Isn't that great? But it's just unbelievable. All right, I'm going to have a question for you shortly. But before we do that, I'm going to play Chris Sims. By the way, before I do anything else, I want to send out a get well wish to Tony Bruno. People know Tony Bruno. Tony is his illness. He's scuffling a little bit, and I think he had to go to the hospital. But Tony's a great guy, and he does a podcast, and he's come on this podcast. But I want to wish him a get well soon and get better. We don't need you sick because we got to hear a lot of your nonsense. But nonetheless, get well soon, Tony. And that's a get well. I want to send out a get well wish. Also, I've posted them and they're up there. I have picks for today for your donations to Brandywine Valley SPCA and Providence Animal Center. And I really do appreciate your donations. Try to help. I had a good week last week. Hopefully the same happens this week, today with college, tomorrow with pros. But thanks for your donations so much. And Brandywine Valley SPCA and Providence Animal Center, thank you. You can go to my website or it's on the social media platform. Just page through it. I posted them yesterday. So hopefully you make a donation and hopefully we have a good day with the picks today. All right. I'm going to play Chris Sims one more time. He went off on a podcast with Kevin Clark and his, he went he went like 6 minutes of just but he said a couple of things. The writers have been on Jalen Hurts all year. Seth Joyner didn't until the last few weeks when he realized he was wrong about defending Jalen Hurts. Same thing. And the writers were, I think, a little hesitant to criticize Jalen Hurts. It's just he's not playing at a good enough level, I think. And I've been saying it, and people bust my chops about it. They bust more than my chops. And it is what it is. You got to recognize that there are some issues. And I said I'd bring up Darius Slay. Darius Slay didn't want, he was claimed when he was cut by Pittsburgh. He said they worked out a mutual agreement. No, he was cut because he can't play. He's done. Darius Slay's done. Apparently the Eagles put in a claim for him. Like, why? What are they? It's just Brandon Graham is a great guy, and they didn't have a defensive end at the time because they hadn't traded for Phillips yet. Brandon should have ended his career after last season winning a Super Bowl. He hardly plays, but they try to go back. Darius Slay is not that good anymore. It's not that good anymore. So he refuses to play for Buffalo. Hey, too bad. If you want your money, you'll play. All right. It's pretty much that simple. I see Steve W says Slay was finished last year. I mean, whatever it was, I'm just trying to look at some of the comments here. All right, I'm going to play Chris Sims from this podcast. And you may not like Chris Sims, but he knows what he's talking about. Here you go.
Everybody's blaming the coaches, and the blame deserves to be on the quarterback, and that's it. This is why you heard last week and the week before from Philadelphia beat writers that have been there forever, Seth Joyner, all these people that, there's a lot of unhappiness in the organization about the quarterback. The quarterback won't play the game in the pocket. The quarterback has hijacked the offense and won't let them run certain plays. I've been saying this for 2 years. Right now, people are starting to realize, and I'm not just saying it, I know it. I've been told by people that are there now, people that were there and left. Nick Sirianni didn't get this job because they went, man, you only have 5 plays in your offense. We want you. We want you. They run a limited offense because of the quarterback. The run game's never been creative, right? It's never. Last year, it wasn't overly creative. It was a lot of the same runs you're seeing right now, right? But at the same time, as you know, in the NFL, teams figure out how to defend certain things, right? And then here with this, teams have found the formula to go, wait, we cannot be steamrolled by the biggest, most powerful offensive line in football. We can figure out ways to stop the run because the pass game is so simple and there's certain plays and throws that the quarterback just won't throw. So that's what it looks like. I broke it down on my podcast last week. I mean, if you look at plays from the Cowboy game, there's people open everywhere when they can't score, in the second, third, and fourth quarter. But there's a quarterback that doesn't really go through the reads. He watches the rush. He doesn't throw the ball on rhythm, right? And I know he's told them that he doesn't want the offense to be crazy, right? So he doesn't. He's been very firm about it. I want the same way the offense was when we went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Chiefs the first time. So he's not going to allow them to reinvent the wheel and do different things there. So that's where everybody's got to get off the coaches. This is where the organization's going crazy because the public is pointing the finger at everybody except the guy that deserves the blame. And all the players and coaches know it's the quarterback.
I think Chris Sims was very clear. The offensive line isn't as good. So the running game isn't as good. Saquon Barkley may not be as good because after you have, not that he's not a good back, after you have that many carries the previous year, historically, you don't have the same success the next year. The defense isn't as good. Mark Lawrence pointed out where they rank offensively and defensively, and both are not very good right now. That's amazing. You wouldn't think the defense. So many people, not everybody, many people want to fire the coaches. You're wrong. by that. You're wrong. I see Herb says, I think they're a good team and have a chance to go back to the Super Bowl. Good luck, Herb. I think Hurts has to start running the ball more. No, Herb. Instead of throwing incomplete passes, start running out of the pocket and get first downs. Hey, Herb, let me break the news to you. Teams are starting, actually, teams aren't stupid. What they do is they create game plans defensively to stop that. So now, and they keep him in the pocket. He doesn't want to stay in the pocket. He's uncomfortable in the pocket, and that's part of the issue. I talked about it for a couple of months when people killed me for saying that Tanner McKee was the better quarterback fundamentally on the football team, and he is better fundamentally, much better. Now, is he as athletic? No. Can he go through his progressions better? Yes. Does he have a stronger arm? Yes. Can he get out of trouble from the pocket as well? Probably not, but he has very good awareness, and he has a better concept of how to run the plays. He's not going to be the quarterback. Okay. Jalen Hurts has got to get better, and that's the only way. But Herb, this is not a Super Bowl team. It's just not a super. Hey, listen, they're a good team. I would be really surprised if they got back to the Super Bowl. And that's why it's hard. It's hard. And Kurt Warner mentioned it the other night on the show. He talked about the problems. And actually, he mentioned some things about which I'm going to post over the next couple of days on social media. And you can go back and listen to the show. It's easy to find on Twitter. It's easy to find on YouTube for sure. Facebook, I guess people know how to do that. It's just, I'm telling you, it's not good right now. It's really not good. All right, let me give you the question. This is kind of an off the wall question, but it shows if you've been listening. And let me just, before I give you the question, I just want to make sure. Uh, here's the question. I talked and he talked about the greed of Notre Dame. What was something that I didn't know that Notre Dame does to get more money? We know the fact that they're not in a conference, they get more money. What is it that they do to get more money when Notre Dame plays a football game in South Bend, which I think is the haven of hypocrisy? Submit your answer to my website, howardeskin.com, by Tuesday, December 9th. We'll announce the winner on Wednesday, December 10th at 7:30. The show live, and you will win a Chickies and Pete's gift certificate. It'll be live on X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and the winner will be randomly chosen from all the correct entries. All right. So, but Notre Dame, I hope they don't make the college football playoffs. And even if Alabama loses today to Georgia, I still hope they don't make the playoffs. And I'll leave you with this. You don't want to listen to me because you fall in love with players and it's easy to rip the coaches. You're wrong ripping the coaches. It's the Eagles' offensive problems are not the fault of Kevin Petullo. He's a good coach. Nick Sirianni, I think, is a good coach, even though he gets bored with these news conferences. Total boredom because there's no more questions left. It's just, I and I don't know that the writers and the media, I just say the media people get creative with these questions. He's got another one today, which I know he doesn't want to do. Doesn't want to do any of them. He just wants to coach a football team, and I can understand that. But it's not the coaches. All right, they have good coaches. The Eagles have good coaches. Players make plays or players don't make plays. And the focus of a team, and Kurt Warner mentioned it the other night, is the quarterback. You need the quarterback to play. Kurt Warner is from a different time when he threw the ball a lot. You need to throw the ball when you can't run the ball. And the Eagles right now cannot do that as well. So take it for what you think it's worth or what you don't think it's worth. Hey, Lloyd Marshall. Hey, Eagles, run the damn ball, stop playing cute, and cut back to some fundamentals. Okay. Hey, Lloyd, they're having trouble. They're not having success running the ball. They try to run the ball. They're not having, see, you got to learn the game a little bit, Lloyd. Really, I'm ripping you, Lloyd, because you got to learn the game. They want to run the ball. The Eagles want to run the ball. But maybe because of the offensive line, because the defenses are playing better now and adjusting, they're stopping the run and they're saying, hey, Jalen going past the ball, and he's not playing well enough. He's not playing. He's just not playing well enough. It's just see Max Puppy. I can't watch those interviews anymore. Like he's talking about Nick Sirianni. It's like getting root canal. I don't think it's bad as getting root canal, but it's not. It's not like getting root canal. But he doesn't want to do them. He just wants to coach his football team. Hey, thanks to all of you for joining the program today. Be a little warmer today in the Philadelphia area. It won't be in the 20s and low 30s. It's gonna bump up to like 40. But thanks to Joe Gangemi, who does the technical stuff on the other side, and thanks to Tony Anastasia, who puts all the graphics together and helps with the posting of all the stuff that I do. Graphics are great. Thanks to both you guys, and thanks to you for today. On this Saturday, we'll be back on Wednesday. On this Saturday, thanks to you for riding with the King and listening to the Howard Eskin Show.
Yes, Sixers to the fields, one voice cuts through, giving you the real. He broke the stories, he started the fire, launched the whole game back in '86, never retired. Heroes crown him, yeah, they call him the king. Fur coat flashing, bling bling in every ring. He's the hardest working, great talking dog. Call in with your tape, but don't get it wrong. He'll call you a nitwit if you're acting a fool, but deep down you love it, that's the Eskin rule. Riding with the king, yeah, we're riding with the king. Howard Eskin Show, let the truth ring. Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, he knows the deal. Philly sports royalty, bow down and kneel. Riding with the king, put your hands in the air. From South Philly streets to the Delaware. No filter, no fear, just the facts on the mic. It's the Howard Eskin Show. Let's go get sight. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king.